Let's just dive right into this, guys. When most people hear the word barbarian, they immediately picture like a mindless brawler, right? Just swinging a massive axe until literally everything in the room stops moving. But listen, if you're looking to push high difficulties, that stereotype, yeah, it's just not going to keep you alive. Welcome to this explainer. Today we're breaking down the mechanics of transitioning your barbarian from a simple raw damage dealer into a highly tactical, highly self-sustaining juggernaut.
Because it really all comes down to answering this one central question. How do you turn pure anger into an unkillable force? We're going to trace a very specific narrative arc today. We start with the raw power of the base class, and then we strategically layer on passive survivability, active defensive cooldowns, and honestly, some of the absolute most aggressive sustain mechanics available in the Occult Slayer and Ravager enhancement trees. So here's our roadmap for getting there. 1. Intro to the Barbarian. 2. Frontline survival. 3. Tactical combos. 4. Weapon bond. And finally, 5. Blood strength.
All right, Section 1, Intro to the Barbarian. Right out of the gate, we all know this class brings massive base health with a D12 hit die and an innate movement speed boost, but its absolute core signature engine is Rage. Firing off a basic Rage at level 1? Well, it's all about trade-offs. You gain this massive +4 bonus to Strength and Constitution, alongside a +2 morale bonus to Will saves. But there's a cost. You take a -2 penalty to your armor class, and when the rage ends, you'll lose those temporary hit points and become fatigued. But hey, you don't stay in this basic state forever. This ability scales beautifully as you level up. At level 11, it upgrades to Greater Rage, bumping those stats to +6. Then, at level 17, you hit a massive milestone with Tireless Rage, which completely eliminates that nasty fatigue penalty. And finally, the big one at level 20, Mighty Rage, pushing your Strength and Constitution bonuses to a staggering +8. Section 2, Rage and Frontline Survival. Now this illustrates a really core truth about frontline combat. Raw health points and big strength numbers, they just aren't enough when you're completely surrounded. You need dedicated damage mitigation, or else enemies are just going to chew right through that massive D12 health pool. 9%. That is a giant, constant 9% passive damage reduction that you reach at level 20. It starts small, just 3% at level 2, but it steadily grows. And this constant mitigation applies to all unarmed weapon or natural attacks against you. Now I know, it might sound like kind of a subtle number compared to giant attack stats, but this scaling damage reduction, it is the secret engine of a barbarian's survival. It's literally working passively in the background of every single fight, just shaving off damage before it ever even touches your health bar. Section 3, Tactical Combat Combos. Because, let's face it, passive survival only gets you so far. You need to turn tools like Uncanny Dodge from a passive safety net into an active tactical weapon. Here's exactly how you use Uncanny Dodge in high-intensity combat. Step 1, you engage and intentionally pull enemy aggro. Step 2, right when you're surrounded and the incoming damage spikes, bam, you trigger Uncanny Dodge. Step 3, you unleash your devastating area of effect attacks completely safely while the enemy is just swinging wildly at the air. At level 4, hitting Uncanny Dodge grants you a temporary 25% dodge bonus and a +4 to your reflex save. But at level 8, man, this massively upgrades to Improved Uncanny Dodge, which literally doubles the effect to a 50% dodge bonus and a +6 reflex save. It does have a 2-minute cooldown at this rank though, so managing exactly when you press this button is absolutely what separates an OK Barbarian from a true master tactician. Moving on to Section 4, Managing the Weapon Bond. When we look at the Occult Slayer tree, the core mechanic here is incredibly unique. It basically turns combat into an economy. You're building up capital by fighting, which you then spend for some absolutely massive payoffs. So let's look at this economy in action. Building the bond happens every time you damage an enemy with an attack. You gain 1 point of weapon bond, building up this psychic connection up to a maximum of 200 points. You're literally charging yourself up just by staying in the fight. But you gotta be careful. If you die, that bond resets entirely to 0. And if you decide to switch weapons mid-fight, yeah, you get slapped with a 30-second cooldown timer. Then comes the fun part, spending the bond. You consume these built-up points to activate some incredibly powerful abilities. Here's exactly what you're buying with those points. For just a single bond point, you can give yourself a +5 bonus to attack for 20 seconds.
If you spend between 10 and 30 points, you can pop Driving Force for a really solid boost to melee power and magical resistance rating. For 20 points, you can unleash Seeker's Strike, a cleave attack with increased critical threat and multiplier. But the absolute ultimate payoff is one spirit. You blow 100 points of your weapon bond, and in return, you get a massive 400-point positive energy heal that actually scales with 100% of your melee power. It's the ultimate emergency button, and you earn it purely by being aggressive. All right, bringing us to Section 5, Healing with Blood Strength. That Occult Slayer heal is great, for sure, but this Ravager ability, it's your ultimate Tier 5 tool for constant, unstoppable healing. Seriously, Blood Strength completely changes the way you play the game. Every single time you land a hit, you have a 12% chance to heal yourself for half your Barbarian level. And every time you kill an opponent, you get a flat 20 hit point heal. And get this, it only has a 1-second cooldown. Plus, all of this healing scales with 100% of your melee power, so as your damage goes up, your healing goes up too. But the most crucial part, this healing is not reduced in Reaper mode. For those of you pushing the absolute hardest content, where self-healing is normally crippled, this completely bypasses those penalties. You receive the full heal regardless of the skulls or being in combat, making your Barbarian essentially unkillable as long as you keep swinging. Now here is the real game changer. Enemies your level or higher have a 100% chance of triggering that on-kill heal. If they're lower level, sure, the chance drops. But if you're fighting at level content, every single kill is a guaranteed heal. What this means for you as a player is actually kind of counterintuitive. A dense, terrifying crowd of out-level monsters actually becomes your safest environment. You don't want to fight one big boss. You want to fight 20 smaller enemies so you can rapidly cleave through them and proc dozens of guaranteed heals. It's crazy, right? So it really all comes together beautifully. As the old saying goes, for many Ravagers, there's no laughter without slaughter. Taking hits and jumping right into the fray fuels your rage and triggers your damage mitigation. And dealing damage right back? Well, that fuels your blood strength healing and builds your weapon bond points for ultimate tactical control. It is literally a perfect closed loop of glorious, calculated violence. So, I'll leave you with this final question. Are you ready to let the rage take over and build your unkillable frontline juggernaut? By combining that massive D12 health pool with escalating passive damage reduction, mastering the active timing of Uncanny Dodge, and feeding the beast with the Occult Slayer's weapon bond and the Ravager's blood strength, you aren't just surviving the front line, you're dominating it. Get out there, test these mechanics, and let the rage guide your way. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll see you in the next one.